Hi everyone, I'm Adam Harris, Chief Market Analyst. Welcome to this week's weekly analysis video brought to you by myself and SabioTrade. So don't forget that you can access a discounted prop account membership using the affiliate link in this video's description. SabioTrade, of course, very keen on supporting traders with talent and providing them with scalable capital, amongst other things. Please also be aware that this week is just jam-packed with high-impact news stuff. There's ADP, there's non-farm US jobs data coming out, NFP on Friday. This is likely to create an incredibly volatile and unstable week. So please be extra cautious and keep an eye on the economic calendar, especially for that US dollar. It is likely to create quite a bit of volatility. Right, that being said, let's move on. Let's have a look at the euro dollar, which is currently in a downtrend. But for me, it is still back within this range. If you go and have a look at it from a monthly perspective to get a much higher level view, you'll see that it really hasn't done anything for a while over the last couple of months, especially if you go back to a weekly view again. You can just see that for the most part, although we are in an uptrend, we've really just been staying around for, imagine, almost 2 months, just kind of sliding up and down, lots of backwards and forwards, and we're currently still in that range, which just means that although there is a lot of reason to suspect that US dollar will continue to weaken and we will see euro dollar push higher, just keep in mind that currently the market is going sideways, and it's possible that this week's news will potentially kick it into a high gear. We could see a rejection of the level, or we could see that dollar really weaken, and we could see euro dollar breakout. Moving on to GBPUSD here. So looking at this on a daily time frame, you can see it's very much range bound. How do we know this? It is mixing up its highs and lows. It tried to break out this side, tried to break out here, and it's very much range bound. So there's no clear trend at this time, which means that based on what we're seeing here, it's more likely we'll see this market move to the upside here. But don't expect a huge amount this week. Again, if you are trading ranges, making sure you are keeping your risk low, taking profit sooner, and just be prepared for a lack of clear direction. Dollar yen, interesting to me. We were bound in this range. We broke out. We pulled back to the top of the range. The question really is going to be, will it find a nice bullish candle where we find support in this area and continue onwards, or will we slip back into the range? If we slip back into the range, that doesn't bode well because it implies we'll be in the range for a bit longer. Alternatively, we could have a very nice bullish candle and find ourselves pushing higher, which also hints a little bit at a stronger dollar yen, but a weaker dollar. So interested in that. Euro yen, really been liking the look of this. It's been very choppy to trade here, but the overall momentum is to the upside. A small bullish candle here could provide a buying opportunity and continue to the upside. So for the time being, looks as though some of the yen pairs are heading a little bit higher. Euro yen as well. Swiss yen, some of my favorites. Again, not super big moves, but has pulled back in, and I do expect this to produce a bullish bar and continue higher. Let's have a look at commodities. We'll go through and have a look at gold. So gold having a bit of a bumper period at the moment. Remember, it is a bit of a bubble, and therefore how far can it keep going? As long as it wants, it can just keep going. So this week, today, nice little boom move to the upside, pull back and move up. This is very aggressive at the moment. MACD is creating new highs. So right now, this trend is relatively strong. All right, it's heading towards that 3,850, 3,900 level, looking very nice and strong. Should provide opportunities for both day traders and swing traders. Silver also, ladies and gentlemen, having a bumper time at the moment, today being a really big day. Yes, again, by the end of the week, we could see a bit of a correction. That is a possibility, but just showing you here that this is providing some good opportunities also on those lower time frames. Excuse me. So also on those lower time frames, we can see here that silver, although it's battling a little bit of resistance at the moment, is actually providing tradable opportunities, which it isn't always the case year in and year out, but certainly for the last month or so, we can see silver has stepped up and it's pushing its way back up to 50, which is its all-time high, and then we'll see where it goes from there. My point is that it does actually have some room to the upside. All right, so moving away from metal commodities, let's have a look at digital commodities. Let's have a look at Bitcoin. So Bitcoin currently range bound, right? It's essentially finding some good support here. If we go have a look at this on a weekly basis, we can actually see here that it's got a very nice rejection of the lows at this point in time. Potential lower high, but currently we didn't break through. There's no follow, and we can see a little bit of a rejection here. So it's trying to stay above this level of resistance, find support here. And if it does break the high of yesterday, or at least a Friday, I beg your pardon, we'll see this move back up to the top of the range. So seeing a little bit of bullishness coming into Bitcoin as well. Let's compare that to Ethereum. And again, Ethereum, let's switch this over to a daily chart so we can just get a sense of that. We are currently in a bit of a downtrend here. We've broken through support, and we are in an area where potentially we could have a bearish candle and find this breaking lower. So interesting. Ethereum not really looking the same, obviously, as Bitcoin itself. Let's have a look at it from a weekly perspective to get a sense of that. Weekly perspective, pulling back into the moving averages. So actually a bit of contradiction there. We could find this if it does finish higher this week. And we'll really only get a lot of that clarity by close of day on Friday because of all the news coming out. We could see no matter how it goes by Thursday, possibly NFP could change things. So if we do finish higher this week, I expect this to continue higher as well, and that will bode well for Bitcoin also. Moving on, let's have a look at the global indices. Let's start off with the Dow. So the Dow is very choppy at the moment, struggling with a nice little bit of resistance where it is. Let's go up and have a look at it from a weekly perspective, really just to get a sense of the bigger picture. And we can see, that it's kind of staying a little bit in the same place, not really moving a huge amount from a daily perspective as well. We can see that essentially, although it is nice bullish candle that started off at the start of the week pushing up, we can see a little bit of a pullback happening now, so it's starting to slow down. And the only other thing that I wanted to add to this is, yes, we're still not free and clear of September at this point in time. That doesn't necessarily mean we will have a correction. It's just saying that until we really get past the end of September, there's always a possibility we could see the markets have a bit of a correction. We still got a couple of days left. We'll see how that goes. Actually, we've only got the 1 day, I beg your pardon. So we'll see if there's a bit of a down day tomorrow, maybe early start of October. That could be the case, but overall, I would say I would stick with the markets staying above these levels for now. Let's move on. Let's have a look at the S&P. So the S&P here again, also generally in a nice little uptrend here, pulling back, testing the 50 period. There is more upwards momentum here again. Let's go up to the daily here. We can see that we result in a nice bullish candle here and are attempting to push up a little bit higher. So again, as I say, September aside, my expectation is that the markets will really attempt to continue to push higher. But until we get free and clear of that last little bit, because Septembers are historically quite bearish, we'll just see how that goes. Then all of these sitting on the lower time frames. Let's have a look at this. Again, Nasdaq also here, nice and bullish, breaking higher. So stumbling a little bit as we speak, but this could be very different over the next few hours. So I don't really want to include the latest candle until we see what happens there. And then, of course, we've got the Russell 2000 as well. Not really sure why these have all been reset to lower time frames. Again, the Russell 2000 coming back in to test this level of resistance for support. Nice bullish candle and pushing up. Slowing down a little bit now at this time. We'll see if there's a bit of resistance here and whether that resistance is ultimately going to be significant. But as I said, for now, I maintain the markets should continue to be bullish until we start to see some significant breaks of these lows. I'm expecting them to continue to follow up. And again, this week just creates so much volatility, doesn't it? Interesting though, actually having a look at that FTSE 100, so going across away from the US and looking at this now, we've had a nice breakout to the upside. Looking at this on the daily, I think it's becoming apparent that we do have a level of true resistance over here, and so these markets are likely to struggle with this area. And it's shifted from a trending mode into a ranging mode, so very well could see a move back down to test this level of support. But again, for now, I maintain a lot of the bullishness. We're just going to go through a consolidation period, potentially this week. I'll add into the mix as well, the Australian index as well, the ASX. Let's have a look at that from a daily perspective. Again, here, coming up and testing some strong resistance where it is at the moment. Not trending as well as it normally is. If we kind of move up and look at it from a higher time frame, potentially from a weekly, this has actually been performing relatively well. It's come back into the moving averages over here and is attempting to break up beyond these highs to produce a swing low here. So it has that potential. Again, this week we could see this break higher. I really want to make it through the week, and that's why I say day traders will be looking at shorter term moves, taking it a day at a time. Swing traders, we're going to have to see how these ultimately play out. And finally, let's have a look at some stocks. We've got Apple, continues to look very bullish at the moment, running up, that looking very nice and healthy. Tesla having broken out of this ascending triangle, breaking up. It's going to run into a bit of resistance here, but it is going to continue potentially to push higher. So that looking stronger. We've got smaller, a little bit of a hanging man for me here, so we might get a bit of a correction off this level. We'll see if this level of resistance holds. But for now, this trend intact. Microsoft, not really breaking out just yet. And again, I think this week it'll be interesting to see if we do get that breakout to the upside. One of the ones doing very well at the moment, Alibaba, just having turned around, looking incredibly bullish and having been on a really good streak this week and last week, looking good. We got Costco. Now this is interesting. Costco here is performing creating a descending triangle. So this one here actually looking as though it's getting ready to break lower. Lower highs coming into this. MACD is very nice and bearish. This looks very much as though it's coming in for a correction. That's interesting to me. Let me just adjust this, and definitely worthwhile having a look at this on the monthly time frame here. So this is likely to be the start of a bit of if this level doesn't hold, again, we've got to see how this closes out, but that looking particularly bearish, which is interesting. This is one of those very rock solid ones. It's going to be interesting to see if it ultimately does break through that. Interesting there. Okay, and then we've got Berkshire Hathaway. We'll just bring in this one here, also putting in a bit of a higher low now, but overall and otherwise looking relatively bullish. So again, most of these markets are looking pretty rock solid for the moment. And so my expectation short term is again that this bullishness will hold for now. But we got jobs data coming out. Let's see if there's any kind of a shock to the system. Trade carefully and cautiously this week and expect high volatility, ladies and gents. Thank you.